Tricky mate. Hello? What the hell is that? Oh my god. Now I just made it. Oh my goodness. This is really unbelievable.
Hello everyone and welcome to Take It to the Max show with Grandmaster Max Dlugy. And of course now we'll be playing a 5-minute pool where I take on everybody. Sometimes some really strong players come up and I have to play them and explain what's going on. So that's always very exciting because sometimes I manage to do well and of course sometimes I don't. So we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, congratulations to Sergei Karyakin for becoming the candidate for the World Championship. He will be playing Magnus Carlsen this November in New York. And I heard that the Trump Tower has offered its premises, so that will be quite amazing and exciting. Oh, exciting as well. So Sergei Karyakin somehow didn't get such high percentages in the picks on all the sites, but people who know him know that this is an incredibly persistent and talented player who is still very young, who has been the youngest grandmaster ever at the time he became a grandmaster, and of course the talent that goes into that is incredible. And so it's anyone's pick who is going to win. I would say Magnus is a favorite, but we're gonna have to see how that works out. Anyway, I'm up against an international master, and we are starting off with the fianchetto of the pieces. Now I'm going to try to see what I can do about that. Let me play c6 to bolster up my center and start by seeing if I can actually get some play by putting the pawn on a4 at some point. Okay, here I am, just for now developing. I gave up my bishop, but the question is why I gave up my bishop, and this is of course a question that's becoming to annoy me here. Okay, I'm gonna try to play in a very strange way, but I'm not sure that I'm doing a good job of it. I'm trying to play queen f5 or queen e6 and kind of annoy white's e and c pawns and maybe make my a pawn strong. If white plays c5, maybe knight d5 is going to give me some play on light squares. The key is not to make white's bishop g2 strong, then I should be okay. But not sure if I did this right. I think I must have misplayed the opening. Probably I would prefer white in this position if he just defends all the targets quickly enough. But after e3, okay, knight d5, this is a target. Okay, and now I was thinking something with knight c7 at some point, but maybe first I'll put the rook on the d file. And now this is actually tough because he wants to go queen b5, knight c4, I mean. Okay, let me bring the queen out of there, so then when I play knight c7 b5, there's no rook hanging. Okay, and then I'm going to try to position my knight on b5. Okay, here it is. Well, knight b5, there is knight b6. That's a bit of a shame. So maybe I should play knight d7 first to exchange bishops, and only then play knight b5 because I don't want to lose the a pawn. Don't want to lose the a pawn. Of course white can always play f4. I'll have f6 for now, and on f5 queen f7. Hopefully my king is not too much in danger. The key is white's light squared bishop. If it stays blocked up, I should be okay. On the other hand, if not, then I may not be okay. So we'll see what happens. Okay, f6 is definitely something I want to play, because I want to play knight e5 at some point as well. I'm actually beginning to like my position. Okay, so knight b5 and knight e5, I think, or yeah, knight e5. And maybe I can take him in with the f pawn, or even just with the queen. So the queen is going to b2. Why not take f takes e? No, I think this is fine. And queen b2 is in the offing to go after the a pawn. I think white is in serious trouble here already. Strangely, how that happened, it didn't really seem that bad for white, but now it does. Kind of somewhat positionally outplayed, I believe, white became. Okay, here queen d4, but queen b2 is so interesting. Queen b4, queen b2, f6 though, right? Could play f5. Or I could just play simply queen d4, I think. Okay, now knight a3 doesn't work, right? Okay, so let me take and move in. And now move in here. I don't know, maybe I'm misplaying this big time. I was doing very well, I'm not sure I'm doing as well now. Okay. Let's see how white defends. So far he's been doing a good job. It's a good move. Yeah, I think I misplayed this. Knight b3, rook d1. Yeah, I certainly misplayed it. I had a beautiful position and now I don't really. It's too bad. That's too bad. Okay, let me move my king to the e file. I'll close to it. Bishop a4 is not a serious threat because I'll take on a4. On the other hand, how can I make progress? Maybe I should move my king to the c file so I can play Okay, let me defend this for now and go here. Okay, and if knight b5. I'm not sure I'm making progress. Okay, let me try to okay, I think I screwed up completely this position. Isn't my knight just trapped? My opponent's not seeing it. Oh my god, what's going on? Try to win this. Try to win this game. Check first is very important. And now I'm going to try the queen. This is a pretty cool game, I think. Wow. Well, how'd you like that? Pretty cool, right? Towards the end, it got crazy, but I managed to win, even though I misplayed the ending completely at the beginning. In fact, I left my knight there, trapped up. I thought b5 would give me some chances, but in fact, what it did is it just killed my knight. Look at this. Horrible move. What happens on rook c1 now? Rook c1, knight a2, rook c2, right? Just losing. Crazy. b5. I had the knight move to b5 and I didn't play for it. Anyway, I'm sure black is a little better here, but whether he's winning or not, I'm not sure. Somewhere around here, though, after f4, queen b2 was a very playable move to play rook d2. The problem with that was I was afraid of e5, but then I think I should play f5 simply, and on e6 there's no real threat of coming into my position. So I think queen b2, e5, f5, and the a3 pawn is really attacked seriously, and rook d2 is coming, and then of course another rook is coming like rook d8, and white is lost. So this was my moment of truth, which I missed. Okay, let's start against FIDE Master Alias. Let's see how that goes. Bishop d6. Okay. I'm going to play bishop g5 because I don't really understand how bishop g6 is going to work here. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Okay, now knight e5. Okay, I'm actually happy the bishop is on h4 rather than f4. I think that's a good jump. Okay, let's take this one and let's go out here to g4. Maybe not the best. Maybe just castles. Why didn't I just castle and play rook f4 next? That was much more logical. Okay, I'm gonna castle now. I didn't like black playing queen g5, but now queen g5 is out of the question. This move is playable though. Okay, let's pin this guy up so he doesn't go anywhere. All right, knight b3 comes into mind, and knight takes pawn. Knight takes pawn, queen b2. Not so clear. Let's defend. Let's be a little bit defensive here. Yes. And now what? Well, the bishop is kind of dead. I'm not worried, but okay, let's try to maybe Let's try to get in some attacking moves. Let's attack the pawn for now. Hold on 1 second. Bishop d5. Okay, and this is interesting. Now I would think rook c1 to play c4 at some point. Maybe c3 and then c4. Yeah, here I would put my queen on e5. That seems like a good square. Okay, here if I play c4, bishop takes c4, and then rook takes c4. Doesn't quite work, right? Or does it work? I think it does work. So I'm going to play c4. And rook takes c4 and rook c1. And no, it doesn't work. I thought king h1, but rook c2. Oh my god. Oh my god, I just lost the game. Rook c2. I missed rook c2. Sometimes you miss tactics, and that's what happens. Yeah, this is now just lost. This is just lost. Rook c2 is what I missed. That's too bad. Maybe my opponent doesn't see it, I don't know. Maybe there's rook g8 too. Yeah. This is really bad. Now let's see if I play h3. Yeah, this is winning two ways. Okay, brilliant game by Elias. Very badly played by me, missing the shot. The critical shot was not rook g2, that I saw, but what I missed is that rook c2 is winning, but even rook g8, and there's no move. So too bad. When you look at tactics like that, you really have to check. I should have played, I think, c3 here, and then eventually I would get in c4, although on c3 probably black plays queen c4 first, and then maybe and rook f2, queen d3. So it's not that simple. c4 was a very important move to get in if I could, but it didn't quite work out. It was kind of the basis of my play here to get in c4. Very interesting game. Somewhere in there I certainly I certainly could have done better, but here we are, and now we're gonna try to play a next game. Okay, and here we go. Adriev. Okay, good luck. And we have a King's Indian defense. Same-ish. My personal favorite of old. Okay, queen a5. This is the move I like to confuse my opponents. Okay. So far we're following my game against Nikita Vityugov. It's a pretty strong player from Russia who I beat in the World Rapid Championships this past year. And in fact, I believe this is the same position. Check. and here. Nikita played g3 instead of bishop f2, but still I managed to get some counterplay and win the game. Let's see what happens here. Now g3. Okay. The key is not to let white castle, and then he's got to think about what he's actually doing in this position. Okay, I'm out of here. I did my stuff. I did my work. Okay, now it's interesting because somewhere in here I should be winning a pawn, but maybe I'm not. Also knight g4 looks nice, but bishop g2, rook g1, and I can't really take because my queen is hanging. I could play a silly move like b6, but then maybe it's not so silly. Maybe I should just play a non-silly move like rook c8 instead. Something positive. Okay. Well, now certainly knight g4 looks interesting. To take that bishop on the dark squared bishop and make my bishop big. Even taking on c3 is a potential threat. Okay, this one we're gonna take for sure. Okay, now I'd say check, just to see where that king is going. Okay, it's going to a nice place. Now I can actually win a pawn, I think, but not sure. No, not yet. Not yet ready. Okay, maybe something simple. Like a6. But I don't want white to trade queens with knight d5. Knight d5, bishop f2, king d1, bishop g4. Okay, definitely not knight d5. So what about knight b5? Okay, both I don't want to allow either one of those, right? So how do I stop it? Maybe more like queen c5, just to kind of hint at bishop e3. A little hinting goes a long way sometimes. Okay. Let me stop that for now and still hint. Okay. Still a lot of hinting going on here, so white is weakening his position. Okay, back to the base. Back to the base here. And let's get that knight out quickly. All right. Now what? Okay, let's go back to the dark square game now that we kicked that knight out. Very funny how white is barely managing to hold everything, huh? Almost unbelievable how that's happening. Okay, let me try to get in there with my pieces. And then open up everything as much as I can as quickly as possible. I don't know if that's gonna work, but somehow magically white is holding on, so I want to play f5 and just blast everything open. Aha. Fine. Also threatening to just win the b pawn. Okay. True. Okay, now white wants to play knight d5. Let me open up the king. Okay, check first. Wow, I'm really misplaying this position, I think. Oh, yeah. Alright, let me do this. Magic. Hopefully it's a magic. Let's see if this magic works. In between move magic. Of course, on bishop takes pawn, I'll just take the bishop, but if queen takes queen, I'll take the bishop with check and then the knight with check, hopefully. Although I'm not sure. Okay. Now what? Now I should be doing fine. Pretty much a piece up, right? And I got some nice moves that my opponent may be missing here. Okay, bishop g4 check looks good. King f1 though, huh? Maybe I shouldn't be rushing this. Let's take it slowly. Queen d5. I'm not rushing this at all. I'm gonna take it slow now. Threatening rook takes knight and queen g2 check. Trying to force some sort of resignation. Probably objectively queen takes bishop is the best move for white, but that will put him down the rook. Now that move I didn't see. Okay, I can just move my queen. I don't think there's anything in the rulebook that says you can't move your queen when you're winning. So that's what I think I'll do. No, really, c6. I don't know. Let's take that. Okay. Okay, I'll just play simple chess. I'm not going to take pieces. I'm going to take pawns and attack queens. All right, let's take something significant, a little bit more significant. I do not see that, I have to admit. Okay, well, that was a very complicated game, but it's actually all theory till about now. As I said, Nikita Vitikov played g3 against me and I played queen h3, but the key here is to stop white from castling, and I think once I did that, at least I can say I have a good position. Now, I'm sure I had something more than what I did, but taking a bishop out and creating a huge bishop like this is good news. I think if I play this again, I would just play e6 now. I think it's more reasonable to just play e6. Instead, I went for this sort of idea of breaking through on the dark squares, but it's not ready for me yet. Yeah, now I had to spend time regrouping. Actually, around here, I thought bishop f1 was even stronger. Just getting rid of that bishop. On bishop takes f1, maybe white can just take on d4. Or even king takes f1. Just get rid of one of those bishops. So I think bishop e2 was a mistake for white. And now when I retreated, I started the second wave of attack. And white held on nicely here. And then, okay, here I think I should have found something better than what I did. but I didn't. Anyway, let's see how my next opponent handles himself. And let's play the Sicilian. Okay, the d5 Sicilian, or the c3 Sicilian, I suppose. All right, well, let's just develop. And the queen goes to d6, my favorite square wall. A little pressure on d4. Okay, my opponent doesn't care, neither do I. Let's just get our pieces out. Yep, out go our pieces. d4 is hanging a bit, may need protection. And white is usually trying to line up queen d3, bishop h6, and turn the bishop to a6. Okay, here my queen has a nice square b8. That's what I was preparing by moving my other rook there. Okay, and that's exactly what he does, as if he playing by the book here. Okay, now I can block that diagonal with knight d5, although not necessary. It's not necessary because there's no particular threat. So maybe I can just play knight d5 for now. Anyway, and now, okay, now I can play knight e7. Now I have a full blockade on the d5 square. Okay, now knight f4. Does that win a little bit of material, or is that something that I should not go for? I don't know. These are always hard to say, hard to call, but I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for it because, oh, I didn't see I wasn't attacking the rook. Actually, I missed that. I missed that I wasn't attacking the rook, but I guess I was actually, so it's okay. Okay, now it's a question of finishing touches. Okay, knight f7, rook f7, and plus the queens go off, so I can certainly play a6 to win the d pawn. D pawn of the board. I'm up a lot of material, about a rook's worth actually. My idea was to play knight f5 even before if white moved his rook from e1. So I think knight g2 was actually quite fine, because knight f5 would join the fray, attacking the queen and getting winning position. Anyway, I believe my opponent resigned, so let's continue with the next challenge. As you can see here, actually nothing that important happened for a while, and this has all been played before, probably a few hundred times. And this is a very important move, rook a d8. It's always a question which rook, and in this case clearly the a rook, so the queen can go to b8. If that's all you learned from today's show, it's going to be worth it, believe me. Queen goes to b8, sometimes to a8, and the rooks are fine. And now I don't mind, I'm actually going to b8, so this move I would say is a mistake. I think white should have just played queen d3 immediately. Okay, I played g6 not to get mated on h7. White plays bishop a2. Usually white plays first bishop h6 and then bishop a2. And here I played knight d5. Of course, white could have played bishop h6. Well, anyway, let's take a look at the next game. It's another international master. And let's see how this game goes. Well, somehow I got him thinking 4 moves deep. That's pretty good. All of this was played by Grishuk and myself in the World Rapid and Blitz Championships. If you guys want to take a look, you can. I didn't do so well there in this line, but I have since worked on it, so I got some new and cool ideas. And let's see if I can demonstrate any of them as my opponent thinks about his move. C6, fine. And I'll prepare to play e4. All right. And let's stop that b4 idea before it hatches. And now, of course, we can just go for it. The big center push. Okay, well, it's reasonable. I can play b3, and probably it's a good idea just to play b3 to stop this knight going to c4, and then I'm ready to take on Black's king. If he plays bishop g7, I'll play e5 and start attacking. I did not sign any obligations to castle queenside, and so I can just play a positional game here. Alright, well, clearly it's time to close off the center. Okay, maybe play should I play bishop h6 or bishop e3? That's a good question. I think I'm gonna go here. The queen on h6 could be quite dangerous for black. And without dark squared bishops, the c5 weakness may be a nice outpost for my knight. Also g4 is in there. I'm gonna definitely try to get that knight into some bad spots. If he takes on h6, g4 is immediately threatened actually. So black has some issues. a4 doesn't threaten too much. I'm gonna go with g4, I think. Okay, very interesting how to deal with this now. I think it's time to take out this c5 square forever, actually, even at the cost of my light squared bishop. And actually, maybe I just had a thought. Why can't I castle queenside now? Won't that be an interesting idea? Castling queenside. So should I open him up and then castle queenside? Is that the ticket? I think so. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna castle queenside. Queenside is completely closed off. Okay. Now it's a question of how to develop. So let's play h4, h5 to create some serious problems there. Okay, let's move the king out of there just in case. Okay, and now develop knight h3. Aha! Bishop takes b4, rears its ugly head to move my knight. That's a bit annoying. Fine. I will move my knight. The knight may eventually go to d3, so that's not so bad. Still like my position. But black is not without chances. Okay. Okay, that gets taken off. And now the rook goes to e1. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Keeps that eyeing that pawn, huh? Okay, now knight f2 e4 probably. Yes, yes. Aha, finally he moved off. But now I'm going to persist. I'm going to persist in taking the dark squares away from you, my friend. And take that dark square. Queen f4, knight d5, knight d6 check. Not clear. Okay, let me put the knight in there then. Alright. Bring the knight to c5. This position does not look very good for black, but somehow he's holding on. Alright. Black is playing very quickly because he doesn't really have a chance to make moves that use time. But now, besides just flagging my opponent, what is going on? Am I just much better? Let's say takes knight e4 and g5 and queen e5, right? After pawn takes pawn. I think I'm winning. And eventually I broke through by taking off the dark squared bishop. But it wasn't easy. It was a tough game. So well played by Rainmaker. What was happening there? I played a3 just to stop b4 forever, because it actually takes black many more moves to play b4 than for me to play e4, right? And I'm only about playing e4. So if black plays a5, I just play e4, and black can never play b4 because the rook in a8 is hanging. That's the ploy that I used here. One move stopping two. And now of course I take the center, and now I make a preventive move b3, and of course I have this big center now already, and already I think black is in trouble of sorts, although of course the position is still very complicated. I think I like this move to force black to think what to do with this bishop. a4 was interesting because now we had this position where black for a long time was thinking whether or not to play knight c4. Eventually he played it, but how many moves went by? I don't know, 25 or something. f5 was quite an idea to really get something out of this. I thought knight e6, but I think on knight e6 I can just maybe castle queenside. That was my thinking, because on knight takes d4, then I take the bishop. I don't think the knight has a good jumping away square. So on knight e6 I could have just castled queenside. And black still has to figure out how he's getting himself out. Here I had the chance to use the open e file, and somehow my rook didn't get there for a while. That was really weird. Maybe I should have started with rook e1. Just get that rook in the open e-file. Yet I played on the king side first. I think that was a bit inaccurate. And finally broke through in dark squares. Anyway, here's the next game. And once again my bishop finds itself on f4. Okay, we have the Dutch defense. Okay. Okay, this is played mostly to prepare g4, not just to play to get the bishop to h2. Okay, well, having said that, here's my bishop on h2. Okay, now actually I don't think I need to castle queenside and try to mate black. I think I can just use this semi-open e-file. I'm not sure about this exact attacking idea that black has. c4 is just one idea that okay, so black wants to play rook g6 and somehow mate me, yeah? What should I do, right? Okay, I'm gonna take out one of the bishops. That's what I'm gonna do. And play knight c4 and play knight d6. Okay, that stopped it. Fine. But now e6 is weak. Can it be protected if I just attack it with knight g5 and rook e1? Maybe. I'll start with rook e1 then. Knight g5 is a much more committing move. So I'll start with knight e1. Maybe knight g5 will come unnoticed. No, it was noticed. Okay. Now what? Now if knight g5, knight c7, and black is kind of holding this. So let me put the bishop on g3 so I can come out to h4. Okay, let me wait to see what black does. Did I do that? Did I really do that? I can't believe it. Oh well. Actually unprotected my c pawn, guys. That was incredible. Alright, I'm gonna have to protect it now. Somehow. Black is really maneuvering nicely here. I have to figure out where he's going. Obviously something about my g2 pawn. It's dangerous. Okay, I think it's time to defend a little bit. Kind of luring black to take on a4. Maybe his queen will get trapped there. Not lured enough. Tough game. Tough game. Very interestingly played by black. Very complicated stuff. Okay, well, time to do something else before we get destroyed by some storm coming in at us. Oh, okay. I think knight h3 was winning, but here we are. Let's hit that pawn, that bishop. Okay. And stop f4. Stop f4. Now what? Unbelievably tough. This is unbelievably tough. Okay. 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 All right. And now what? Let's get out of there. That's what. No, 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 no. Not anymore. No Mr. Nice Guy anymore. Now it's going to be tough. Okay, time to queen the c pawn. And let's get some of these rooks in. Haha, beautiful. Okay, how about now? Okay. Okay. That's threatening something, I'm sure. Anyway, I'll take this pawn. Go back. Woo! Tough game. But it's over. It looks like it's over. Problem is I have no time. But I do have a lot of queens coming. That may be well worth it. Okay. Tough game. Tough game. Whew. I don't know. I was lost at times. I was winning at times. I'm sure there were too many misses here. I didn't think this was serious, but somehow perhaps I should just castle queenside here and just continue with my kingside play, because this will prove to be very annoying. This rook on g6, hard to get rid of. Maybe somewhere I was thinking c4 just to get rid of that knight, but knight b4, it's kind of nagging still. And this was a good move to stop my knight coming to e5. And black basically just positioned all his pieces towards my king. Okay, this was, I'm sorry, this was just a horrible blunder. c3, of course, is just hanging. But okay, now that that was missed, we could say that maybe I played rook c1 first and then knight d8 b4. So I imagine the game is actually livable. And here, after knight f7, I decided it's time to protect the knight on f3, otherwise it'll be just very, very dangerous. Black continued playing on the king side, and I said, okay, well, I'll play on the queen side now. But now knight takes h3, gh4, okay, then bishop takes g6, so still okay. And now he went back to c7, and now though, knight h4, now knight takes h3, and on pawn takes knight, bishop takes h4. That I completely missed. Anyway, Mr. Boris is here to play, so we're gonna give a good game to Mr. Boris and hopefully make it up for that tough one that we just had to play. Okay, I think I'm gonna play with the queen a5 idea again. Okay, and okay, I wasn't convinced the last game, so that I was doing badly, so same basic idea. I'm gonna try the same basic idea as white. Stopping. Okay, this is how my game with Nikita went. Okay, here actually bishop h6 is completely playable. That's not what I played against Vitigov. I played bishop e6, but I think this is just fine. And black is fine here because white can't really castle queen side, king side, and because the play is on the queen side, you really have to figure out, you know, how my king is getting to the king side so I can play on the queen side. But here that's not possible. So that creates an impasse in white's planning. What should white plan if he can't go with the king where he doesn't want to advance pawns? So I think this position is fine for black for that reason. And I can slowly prepare something. Well, Mr. Boris is thinking that's a good thing. Yeah, placing the king on f2. That's possible, but it has its minuses. I'm playing on the queen side, perhaps. Okay. That I'm going to stop, of course. The question is how. Probably like so. And like so. Of course, white could have played knight d5 immediately. There was no reason to circle it around. So I'm kind of wondering what he had in mind. Okay, my queen always wanted to go here. Aha. Okay, now I could trade my light squared bishop. I don't think that would be problematic. I could also play queen a5, and on knight d5 I have an interesting idea. But that may not work yet. Okay. But you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna play queen a5, thinking that I'm forcing knight d5. Otherwise, I'm gonna play b5. I'm gonna take this knight and play rook c7. Simply playing for b5. White has a bad light squared bishop, and I should have a much better knight. That's the bet. Okay. That, of course, takes care of the dark squares quite a bit. Queen b4 is a mistake. Serious mistake. Probably not as bad as it could have been, but it is a mistake. I should have played b6, I think, instead. Simply b6 followed by queen. Okay, this is nice because now what happens on b5 even? What happens on b5? Aha. Takes. Okay, so clearly I'm doing well. Now the question is how well, right? Should I go into a queen and pawn ending? I mean an ending with queen b2 or queen b6 rather? Or should I keep the queens on? I think I'm going to go into an ending and try to win the ending with the bad bishop and the weak pawn on c4. Maybe not enough to win, but I can certainly do some torturing. All right, moving the rook to an open file. Next many moves are quite clear. Move the knight on to a nice square. Get a little bit closer. Get a little closer. Thinking knight e4 check. All right, let's see how White protects himself. That defense. Nice. How about this one? Now that one. Many problems for White, and they will continue. So that's one pawn. Now it's time to go for another pawn. Now wait a second, maybe check first. h6. Okay, the knight can regroup to a good square, and we go up again, slowly improving our position. Okay, let's aim at some of these weak pawns. Aim and fire. Very difficult to defend a position like this. Very difficult. Yeah, well, there it was. And another Take It to the Max show is gone. We congratulate Sergei Karyakin again and wish him luck, and at least in a very exciting match against Magnus Carlsen in November. Thank you, everybody, and have a great day. All the best to you.